I love how that tells us what we're doing now. So this is Kathy Davis. It is February 10th, 2022, and this is our Inspiring Author Lunch and Learn. Hopefully our guest speaker will be joining us here in a few minutes. In the meantime, we're going to do a Q&A. I've had a couple questions come up over the last few days that I can discuss. Is anybody working on a project that you have any specific questions for, and we could help you answer right now? Feel free to raise your hand. Hey, Karen.
Yeah. Hi, I've been working hard at trying to get endorsements for my book that is about to be released. I mean, it's been finished and ready to go for months, but I'm trying to do some pre-release things that will market it better, because I didn't do a very good job of marketing my first book. So anyone who's interested in giving me an endorsement, give me a shout out, and I would love to send you a pre-publication copy. But in the process, I ran into some book bloggers, and I have been offered a blog tour through Providence Book Promotions and Jen Holt, and I was just wondering if anybody knew of them.
Melanie might. I see Melanie just joined us. The other thing real quickly, and I'll introduce Melanie here in a second. I'm a member of the Independent Book IBPA, Independent Book Publishers Association, and I renewed my membership, and I was just happy to notice all the member benefits, and part of it is that they have a review club.
Oh, wow.
So I'm going to go back and reread that whole section, and then I'll get back to you and let you know if it's something we can use for your reviewers. Now, I also, I used to be a part of a book club here in St. Louis, and I know that they are always looking for books. So I would be happy to bring it up with them as a possibility for them to review. And they're all former they're retired marketing professionals, like big agents.
I might know some of them.
Probably, yeah. There were a few there's a few in this group, at least 3 that were from Darcy. Remember when we had Darcy here in St. Louis?
Oh, that's way back.
That's way back. So thank you for that question, Karen.
Okay.
Welcome, Melanie. Yay.
Hello, hello.
Hi.
I'm sorry, I couldn't find the link. It was on my calendar, just the time was blocked off, but there was nothing written there. So
okay, good. I'm glad we got it. I'm glad we found you. So I'll just introduce Melanie and remind everybody that the call is being recorded. I did hit the record button. Your presence at these meetings serves as your permission to be seen at these meetings. And I want to remind everybody, please mute yourself on your end. If you have a question, please drop it into the chat box. And as Melanie is telling us all her lovely ideas, I'll be watching that chat box and making sure that we get your questions answered. At the same time, your chat button, by the way, is down at the bottom of your screen. And let's see, what else do we have here? Our goal is to end the call around noon, probably closer to 12:15, since we're starting a little late today. Welcome, Richard. I see he's just popping in. Let me give Julie a co-host. There we go. So she can take care of some of the muting and welcoming people in. So help me welcome, speaking of welcome, Melanie Herschorn. Melanie wants to make your book and brand sparkle online as a content marketing strategist for women coaches and speakers worldwide. She's on a mission to support and empower her clients to create clear messaging and content that shines a light on their individual experience, skill set, and books. With her unique combination of entrepreneurship, award-winning journalism, and PR experience, Melanie guides her clients to attract and nurture leads and position themselves as industry experts. She also loves to provide content marketing tips on her podcast, VIP Access, and in her Facebook group, Sparkles in Strategy. I love that name. So welcome, Melanie. Let's just jump right in here. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and who you help.
Sure. So who I am a book marketing strategist. I am in Phoenix, Arizona. I help nonfiction authors who have written a book and then they go, uh-oh, what do I do now? How do I make that book sell? Not only that, how do I become the next expert? How do I become the go-to expert in my field? And so I help you do that by creating a VIP platform online.
And what's usually included in that platform? What does that look like?
So it looks like all the online places you need to be are all streamlined with your messaging. So your messaging is resonating with your ideal client, your ideal reader. Your social media looks awesome and you're posting on it all the time and you're getting engagement. You have email marketing going out weekly. You also have a freebie that people are downloading and they're excited. So getting on podcasts and blogging and creating launch marketing. So you have a launch, you have your book launch, but maybe you create a program based on your book, in which case you still need to launch that too. So it's kind of like learning all the things you need to do to make your marketing amazing and to sell more books.
But yeah, I heard you mention a couple of things. One was a free download. Tell us, I know that'd be new to some of the people in this group, so tell us a little bit about that, how that can help the author expand their world.
Absolutely. So I also have a full presentation I'm happy to do, which kind of.
Well, that would be great. I can make you host if you'd like.
Yeah, and then I can do this full PowerPoint thing and answer all the questions as we go.
All the sparkle and shine.
All the sparkle, yeah.
I'm going to make you co-host. There you go. Just share your screen.
Thank you. Okay. Just go back to the beginning of this. Okay. Okay, so are we good? Can people see?
It looks great.
Okay, let me just actually put it on slideshow. Okay. Okay, so here's what we're doing. We are talking about what we said, strategies to make your book and brand sparkle. So a little bit about me. These are some fun things so that you'll see that I'm kind of fun and not just super serious about book marketing. So I danced on a TV show in Canada when I was in high school.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Thank you. My most embarrassing moment was in my radio career was when I played animal sounds. Like it was sounds of the West, but it turned out it wasn't music. It was like mooing and neighing. And that was pretty.
And you survived.
I did. I did survive. I was on a Bravo reality TV show a long time ago. I take singing lessons now to fulfill.
Now, you weren't the one that they were trying to hunt down and arrest, right? No. Okay. Just making sure.
And so my mission is to help amplify women's and some men's voices to help make this world a better place. So I have a fun quiz you guys can do to find out if you're an authority online, and it's just at mycontentquiz.com.
And we'll make sure that we also, if you'd like, we can add that to your outgoing when we'll send a follow-up email.
That'd be great. I would love that. Okay. So here's the question I hear most from authors. Now what? I wrote a book. Now what? What do I do now? I know I'm supposed to, I know I had a launch and now what? What do I do? And then here's the thing. Whenever you wrote your book, it doesn't just drop off a cliff. You can still promote it. Whether you wrote it yesterday, 3 years ago, if it's still relevant, you can still promote it. There are always ways to bring things back and make them exciting. Thank you, Karen. I appreciate that. Your book is just the beginning, right? You've birthed this baby and you don't just walk away. We're not snakes. We have to actually raise the baby too. We have to raise the child. And that's what book marketing really is. And when you are marketing your book, you get to sell books, you speak on stages, you fill programs, and you can book more one-on-one clients because people are going to learn about you and you're going to become the expert in your field. So here's what content marketing plan does for you as an author. you make a bigger impact, because instead of just throwing things out there and hoping for the best, you have a streamlined plan that is reaching your ideal readers. It gives you a rinse and repeat system so that you're not always going, what am I supposed to post? Or doing that, that proverbial like throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks kind of thing. Like, we've all done it, but it doesn't work. This way, you know what you're going to post, when you're going to post it, and why, right? So it helps you save time and money, because you're not just doing things and not knowing what the result is going to be. And it also gives you peace of mind, because you know that you're reaching your people. And I would love it if you guys would pop in the chat, why did you write your book? Like, what was your mission for your book? I would love to read some of those. So go ahead and just type in the chat.
I know we get a lot of authors who, let's see, on this call, we have a variety. So we have
Wonderful.
novelists, we have nonfiction,
Yeah.
we have senior leadership coaches.
Wonderful.
See, we have senior business coaches.
Yeah. So, Kathy, are you able to unmute?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. I'd love to go a little bit deeper if possible. I just
Okay.
want to be able to see your face too. Oh, at
Okay.
least your picture, see your picture. So what was that advice that you kept sharing over and over again?
I'm a LinkedIn trainer for both business and career. And so while I say wrote a book, I've written part of a book, and then they changed all their screen. But I kept sharing the same LinkedIn advice on here's how to get a job. Here's the same LinkedIn advice on how to build your business. So I got tired of saying the same thing all the time. So that's why I'm putting it in the book.
Okay, well, but why? Why do you feel the call to write this book?
Because people keep asking me, so I feel that because they keep asking me, I must therefore be someone that they respect for answering those questions.
Okay, let's go a little bit deeper. Why?
Because I've done it so often. I've spoken so many times to groups, and I've helped so many job seekers and so many businesses. They recommend me to other people. So it just kind of builds from there.
Okay.
I'm not sure I'm answering the question.
No, because I see that there's a block. You keep talking about what other people are telling
Right.
you. What do you feel?
I feel like I have kind of cracked the code on LinkedIn about how if you do everything right, you can score high for jobs or score high for business.
And why do you want people to know about that?
Because it seems obvious to me. So it seems like something that and I think that's the way it is when we all feel like we have certain knowledge on something, we feel like everybody should know this. So we try to explain it to people so that they'll know it as well.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate that. Pauline, are you able to share or to unmute, I should say?
Look at that.
Hello, thank you. So you wrote to teach people about the law and encourage them to make an estate plan. So why did you do that? Is that your field of work?
I'm an estate planner, and I get really bad results when people come in and they didn't make a will and then they die, and the families are just appalled. So I find that people know a little bit about how it works. They won't be as hesitant to come in or to talk to us.
Okay, so in a way, the book is not only teaching people, but it's also saving families from heartache and financial ruin.
I wouldn't put it quite there,
No.
but I think that if they see what's available, they're better able to move forward. I mean, a lot of people, one of my better sellers is about pet trusts. And I think that when people understand that for instance, they might be hesitant to adopt a dog because they're seniors themselves.
Mhm.
They say, well, who will take this dog if they outlive me?
Mhm.
And it's really kind of a simple process to make a provision for the dog.
Hmm.
And I hope that gets more dogs out of the shelters.
That's a beautiful mission, is to really want to help people in their elder years and their families to make the right decisions about their money.
Right.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Of course. Okay, so you guys see that you have incredible missions, right? And those are what you want to share with your people. So let's talk about the strategies now, because I promised strategies. So here's how you get a month's worth of content from your book so that you can create social media posts. And if you want, feel free to screenshot this if there's anything here that you think you want to come back to. So think of this. Each chapter topic can be its own post. Or maybe pull out a background story that you've written in your introduction, because every book has an introduction. For example, let's talk about Pauline's book, for example. Maybe in there's a background story about a client and how they were afraid to adopt a dog, and then they understood what to do, and then they adopted the dog, and then they were happy. That could be a really fun post, depending on how you word it. A lot of authors like to include quotes from other people that, at the beginning of a chapter or throughout a chapter, and those are great social media posts too. And you can say, you can give the quote, and then you can say, here's why I included that in my book, or here's what this quote means to me, or what does it mean to you? For example, my favorite quote is, everything you want is on the other side of fear. And that's attributed to Jack Canfield. And I love that quote because every time I feel scared to do something, I remind myself what I want is just over that. So that's why quotes resonate with people. And you can feature client stories, client wins, transformations, whether it's you or a family member or a character, whatever it is, those wins and transformations really will resonate with your audience, and they are going to be excited and want to know more. And personal stories are super awesome when it comes to what to post. So that's why I wanted to talk to you guys about your mission, because even if you wrote a nonfiction or a fiction book, I should say, even if you wrote a fiction book, you still had a mission behind that. So when you include your personal stories and your mission and your origin story, why you do what you do, that is gold. People, they listen and they love that stuff. All right, so second strategy, establishing your credibility with content. And I love, when I hopped on, Karen was talking about how she's going to be blogging. And I love that because that is such great thought leader content. So yay, golf clap. I guess that's this golf clap. So let's talk about the different kinds of content that will help you establish your credibility. And if you guys have any questions in the meantime, like, do you have any questions before I go on?
I don't see any. I'm watching the screen over here.
Awesome. Okay. And of course, Kathy, if you want to ask me or throw anything out there, please don't
I sure will.
jump in, please. Okay, so creating thought leader content. What is that really? That's putting stuff, information, value out into the online space to show that you are the expert in your industry. And you have your unique experience, you have your unique skill set, and you are an expert. So what's one thing? Blog posts are great. Articles, sometimes you can write articles for other people. I just wrote an article that a publicity firm has put out. So you can actually cross promote for other people and for yourself. White papers, which are basically, those are more corporate, but it's a white paper is, having a thought and then basically proving your thought and giving examples. And then opt-ins and lead magnets, which are basically the same thing. They're also known as freebies. And so that's why I wanted to launch into this, Kathy, because this is about to answer the question that you asked about freebies.
Awesome.
So freebies are so vital to your growth as a thought leader online. So let's talk about them in depth. So what is a freebie, right? A freebie is something that you give to people in exchange for them giving you their email address. And so if you have one, I'd love to know, how is it converting? If you can just put in the chat, is it doing well? How's it going? Anybody want to hop in the chat how it's doing?
Well, I can talk a little bit about the 2 freebies that we have.
Sure.
So we have, one is the top 100 book marketing tips that we have researched, got off the internet, have learned through experience. And the second one we have, and I'm drawing a blank, is, Julie, what is the second one that we have on our website? We have book marketing tips and, your publishing options. So one of the other
Right.
questions, marketing is one of the most often asked questions. The second most often asked question is, how do I connect with, or is a traditional publishing even an option for me? So I have we've created a chart that shows all the different options between DIY all the way up through traditional publishing and the pros and cons of each.
Oh, that's so helpful.
And so we have people that give us their email addresses that go into a bucket in our constant contact system, and they automatically receive one of these, whichever one they sign up for, free downloads, and they print it off or see it on screen. And then that feeds into our e-newsletter campaigns that go out periodically.
That's fantastic. And so how is it converting? Is it doing well? Are people
I
downloading
think it
it?
does a lot for us in order to help establish credibility.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. So you can create a lead magnet based on your book, but a lot of times, and I love that Kathy did not do this, a lot of times authors will will create a lead magnet and they will give away the first chapter of their book. And that is not going to be effective for you, because when you are bringing somebody into your customer journey for the first time, they are not going to be excited about reading a chapter from your book that probably isn't the best chapter. And it certainly is not going to provide them with a quick win that would show them that you are somebody they want to know more about. So when you create a lead magnet, you want to make sure that it's kind of the before. So what would the thing they need? So that's, I'm going to use your example of the which kind of publishing, Kathy, because I think that's fantastic. So Kathy's going to help people publish their books, right? So what a great way for her to bring people in and then filter them through to see who would be an ideal client. And these people are coming from a place where they want to be published. So it makes sense that that is the kind of offer that she would provide, because they are potential clients. She's not saying, here is how we do things and you have to do it this way. She's giving them the opportunity to self-select. And so I love that example. So thank you so much. And then once you have your freebie created, you want to create a landing page, which is where the people can type in their name and email, and put that link everywhere. Put it across your social media, put it at the bottom of your personal email, because maybe you'll be sending out an email to somebody and they will go, oh, this is perfect for my brother-in-law. He needs to see this. So the more you can put that landing page link out, the better.
So we have a question from Karen. Do you have an example of a lead magnet for a novel? How would that work?
Well, it would probably have to be something that either talks to, I mean, the thing is, I really work with nonfiction authors most because they have businesses,
Mhm.
which it gets tied to. But off the top of my head, I would probably say, well, for example, Karen, your overarching theme, whatever that is, if you want to bring people in to your customer journey to buy your books, then you kind of have to look at the overarching theme of your books, which I believe is having faith. Is that correct? So maybe it would be something along the lines of, 3 things to do to be closer to your faith in the morning, or something like that. And or it could be taking the book itself, and I haven't read the book, so there's a little bit like I'm just kind of thinking off the top of my head here, but perhaps it would be taking a little story, a little snippet, and talking about that. But again, because I tend to do most of my work with nonfiction, it's a little bit harder for me to do it off the top of my
Yeah,
head.
there's a couple ideas, Karen, that came to my mind. One might be for In the Middle, that particular book, which is about women in middle age, all at once becoming caregivers and the effect on our lives. You could do a top 10 tips for managing that phase of life. That would be one. And then for the new one coming up with the working title of My Lost Year, that could also be, top 10 tips for managing life in a pandemic. The first one being always make sure there's a cold bottle of champagne in the fridge.
I would not do that though, because people are over the pandemic. Champagne is good, but
Yeah.
people are over the pandemic. So maybe instead of using the word pandemic, maybe just like
Life
when your whole
crises.
world turns upside down or something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, just don't use, I would avoid the word pandemic, but I love the
Gotcha.
idea.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so Kathy says top 10 tips to score high on LinkedIn, but I realized that gave away too much. Yeah, that's the thing. These don't have to be big and long. So what about one strategy, like the top strategy to score high on LinkedIn? Maybe that would be a good thing, because then people are like, well, what's or maybe the biggest mistake and how to fix it. The biggest mistake people make on LinkedIn and what you really need to do.
That's a great one. Yeah.
So those are great. So thank you so much for sharing. You guys are so awesome. Okay, so now let's talk about nurturing your audience with email marketing. And after the person signs up for your freebie, you have to email them. So as Kathy was talking about with her automatic emails that go out, it's imperative to have an email sequence, and I'll tell you why. Only 58% of companies actually send welcome emails to new subscribers. And your first email to them, your welcome email with the free gift, is your most opened email that you're going to have, probably ever. So you are throwing away stuff if you do not follow up. There's that line that says, the fortune is in the follow-up, and that is the truth. So here's a pro tip. Now, if you guys have ever downloaded a freebie and you've gotten it right from that page, and then you also get an email, what happens? You probably just delete the email, right? But when you don't give it away right on that landing page, and they have to get used to getting it for free from you through their email, then you're kind of getting them used to opening your emails. And so if they open that email, then the next email you send is not going to go to spam, because they already opened your first email because they were expecting it. And then they know that when you deliver great content to them, they're going to be more likely to open up your next email. So it's kind of like training people to become used to opening your emails so that they're like, oh, I have an email from Kathy Davis. This is so exciting. What else is she going to send me today? And you really can create long-term loyalty and deep relationships with your email list.
So I have a
Because-
quick question. I'm sorry, Melanie.
Yeah, sure,
Um,
of course.
Is it better to have, when you send out your email in your, like whether Constant Contact or MailChimp or whatever you're using, is it better to have your content in that email or have a short little intro on that email and have it go to your website to finish it? And or is it better to have the content from your small freebie in that email? Or is it better to have them go to your website so they can download that freebie?
Okay. The more you make people work, the less likely they are to get to the end. Especially if they're on a phone. We have 3 seconds. They get distracted. Sometimes you'll try to take them to a homepage and then they're like, I can't find it. I'm not interested anymore. I mean, the amount of time that you have to go from the person is interested to they actually do it is minimal. So the easier you can make it, the better. Also, people don't want to have to work. Some people view email already as work. So let them have as much right in front of them as possible. Now, the freebie, for example, that can be a button that they have to download. Obviously, they're expecting that. But going forward, let's say you write a blog post. There are people that will say, you know, read the rest of it on my blog, which is fine. You can do that. I personally don't. But I would always recommend having a call to action, which could be, you know, hop on a call with me or click here to get your copy of my book, depending on what you are talking about in the email. Does that answer your question?
I think so, yeah, because I get that question a lot. I just wondered if there's any kind of statistics, because you mentioned, you know, if you click a link, that's going to take you someplace else where you have to add an email list or your email address. And I was just curious if there's any information you might have that says that's just that one more step that somebody doesn't want to take. And are they more likely or less likely to do that?
Well, the link I'm talking about, they wouldn't already be on your email list.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So this is for people who are not on your email list and they want to download your freebie. That's that landing page link, right? But if they're already on your email list and you want to keep it as simple as possible for them.
Gotcha. That
Okay,
makes
awesome.
sense. Thank you.
Okay, good. Of course, I know it's all abstract. We're talking about things that are not in front of us. So I know it can be a little bit complicated and confusing. So the thing about social media, and I love social media sometimes, depends on the medium, but the point is that we don't own our social media followers. We are parking our cars on the metaverse parking lot. And we have to be so careful not to rely on it, because if we get shut down, for example, that day in October 2021 when Facebook and Instagram stopped working, what happens, right? You can't reach the people who are your community. So emails are a great way to do that because you own your email list. You own the subscribers on your email. And of course, people are going to unsubscribe, and that's okay because maybe they're just not your people. And I was just on a meeting and I was saying to somebody, she said, you know, my husband's worried that if I focus on these people in particular, I'm going to turn other people off. I said, that's good. That's exactly what you want to do. We can't be everybody, everything to everybody. Because when you try to please everybody, you please nobody. So it's so vital with your messaging and with your planning that you just stick to the people for whom your messaging resonates and be okay with that. And yes, people unsubscribe for me all the time. And sometimes I'm like, oh, I know you. Why'd you unsubscribe? But I move on because I can't, if they don't need my help, then I can't help them. So I'm not going to try. But emails are such an intimate thing, right? They keep you top of mind. You know, people, they wake up in the morning and they're like, they're reading your email on the toilet. It doesn't get more intimate than that. And, you know, the other thing about email is it's really one-to-one. Social media is a little bit mostly like this too, but really with email, it's one-to-one. It's not like people crowd around a screen and read emails together, the way they crowd around a television and watch together. So you have the beauty of it is you really get to speak to your people through email and show them that you are that expert. And hey, I wrote the book on it. You can even sell from your email list once you've nurtured it. I will often send out an email to my list and people write me back and they jump on sales calls with me because they realize, okay, yeah, they've seen the value that I provide and that they think that maybe I can help them too.
What's your top tip for starting an email list if you're an author and you don't have one? How do you get started?
You get started with a freebie. That's the trick.
And you tell people about it on social media.
You tell people about it on social media. You tell people about it on your networking calls. You tell people about it when you're having coffee. You tell people
Add it
about
in chat boxes in Zoom rooms.
Exactly. If you're offering something for free and it's valuable, why wouldn't somebody want it?
Mhm.
If your goal is to service them, to provide service or to provide something, I mean, and even in Karen's case where it's not, it's fiction, it's still serving because the message and the mission is to support and to inform. So as long as you have that mission still in your heart, then don't feel funny about offering it to people.
Great. I do want to just jump in here real quick for a second. Remind everybody to drop your questions in the chat room. We are going to intentionally go a little long today. If you do have to jump off, we completely understand. We won't take it personally. And remind everybody that it is being recorded and we will be able to send out the link early next week to make sure you get all of the information from today, as well as contact information for Melanie. So I just wanted to squeeze that in there. We'll probably go another 10 minutes, Melanie. I think we're, that'll take us to almost to 12:30.
Okay, I'm almost done here. So, but I do have a special freebie for you guys. If you would like, you can just send me an email. You will not end up on my email list. I do not do that. Whoops, I do not do that. It will literally be me replying to you from my email with this freebie so that you can have a freebie about lead magnets.
And we'll also include that in our follow-up email for you.
Wonderful, thank you. So I'd love to know what's one action that you are going to take today. Just put it in the chat. Something that you feel like you're kind of ready to do something different.
Put a free book up on Smashwords, which just got bought.
Really, it did?
Yep, I just.
By
Yep.
whom?
Digital to, I'd never heard of the company before. It came out through Publishing Perspective e-news that comes out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm sure if you Googled Smashwords got bought. It's Digital to Download, I think is the name of the company, maybe. Digital 2. Okay, somebody else knew about it. Yeah.
Interesting. Hire an intern to help me take the actions discussed. I realize I won't do it by myself. Kathy, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Yes. you can
Thanks.
hire
I'm a
an
big
intern.
chicken. I don't know. It just needs somebody else to spearhead this, or not spearhead it, but to energize me to do it. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and I understand that when I work with clients to give them the book marketing strategy, a lot of them say, I need to know this, but I can't do it myself. And I have to hire a virtual assistant too. And
Yeah.
and that's absolutely legit.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
can't always be the implementer.
Yeah. Well, that and that just, I need somebody to bounce ideas off. That's what I miss kind of from corporate. That's the only thing I miss from corporate. And somebody to go to lunch with.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's the two things. That's it.
Pauline was able to track down the name of the company that bought Smashwords is Draft 2 Digital, the number 2. I mean, literally within the last 24, 48 hours, I just saw that come through. So
Oh, interesting. Thank you. Okay, thank you guys for sharing. I appreciate that. So if you are interested in having a strategy call with me, I would love that. You can book on my calendar at contentstrategycall.com.
and I also had a note, you were thinking of gifting a free content calendar. Can you
I
tell us
sure do.
a little bit about that and what's my benefit if I want to go get it?
Sure, it is a totally, that is the freebie that you will require. You will have to get on my email list to get it though. So the link here, I'll put it in the chat. I'll stop sharing. Stop share.
And we'll send the link out on Monday too. When it goes
Absolutely.
out.
So it's just, so basically it's a content calendar for the year, and it's printable. And this way you will be able to, let's say you print out February and you'll see the national days, the holidays, and you can plan your content ahead of time so that you are not scrambling and throwing that spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
So what would be some last minute, before we go, I just got to say, wise wisdom for authors?
Okay. It's very common that after you create the book, you publish the book, you're burnt out. And marketing is like the last thing on your mind because you're like, well, I made it. Can't they just buy it now? But when you put the work in, you will see the results, because you will see marketing, unfortunately, is not an overnight thing. It is the long game. But you do see results when you do it the right way and when you're consistent.
That's awesome. Thank you. Any last minute questions before we close? Good advice, terrific program from Pauline. Thank you very much today, everybody, for being here. Melanie, thank you for taking time to join us. And as I mentioned earlier, your contact information will be going out with the link to the video for people that might not have been here today, and for everyone that is here on the call. Mark your calendars for February 24th. That's our next conversation. That will be with Jennifer Waller. She's with Pen Power Book Marketing, and she herself is a novelist, and she will be talking about more specifically that genre versus nonfiction. So we're mixing it up a little bit. So thank everybody for being here. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thank you, Melanie. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.